right. Well, I'd like to welcome to Head Kick Audio Victor El Magnifico Altamirano to the
How's it
show.
going?
It's going great, man. It's going great. Glad we can finally get this thing going here. Now, look, you fight for LFA, and you're pretty damn credentialed when it comes to that organization. Why don't you go ahead and let my listeners and viewers know all of your accolades within the organization?
Within the organization, I started with LFA before it was Legacy, before they merged with RFA. And I fought for Legacy twice. And then I actually fought on LFA 1, which was in Dallas, Texas, whenever they combined the belts of the Legacy Fighting Alliance and the RFA. And it was a great. I remember Steve Ocho was there, and I forgot the name of his opponent. I'm sorry about that, but it was a great fight. The card was great. It was a very culminating event for at the RFA Legacy and both of the fans who've been following them individually. I think it was really wonderful for everybody, and I was really honored to have been part of the first LFA number one.
Okay, now let's go a little bit deeper. As your career progressed, right, you've had quite a few fights within the organization and quite a few finishes as well. Where do you sit in the pecking order as far as how many fights, how many finishes like that with the LFA?
I currently hold the record on the LFA for the most wins, the most wins within the organization. I was tied before my last fight in November 20th. I was tied with the Leech, which moved to the UFC. So I broke the record. I hold it now. The Leech had it with me. He moved to the UFC. So right now, where are we sitting, guys? We're sitting right here waiting for that call. That's what I want. The Leech got it. I have the same thing that he had when it comes to the accolades, as you mentioned. And we know where he's at right now. So I'm just waiting for my shot. I've been getting ready. I've been with the LFA for a bit. I love the LFA. And it's just really, really wonderful. I feel like I would just become one of the LFA's another fighter that they sent to the UFC. It's just really wonderful, and I would like the honor, since that I had the privilege to have been on LFA 1. Wouldn't it be wonderful if from 1 to UFC?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you're currently 8-1 in your professional career, and your only loss was to a guy who took the current UFC champ in your guys' division to a split decision.
Yes, sir. A controversial split decision, I may add.
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, no matter where this conversation's going already, you're in some pretty good company. You're in some pretty good company.
Thank you.
So now I wanted to talk to you about your division because I think it's my favorite. I think
Yeah.
the flyweights are my favorite division.
Why?
The cardio is the best. You guys are able to put out more volume, and you guys are able to do things in a way that the bigger guys can't, right? You know what I mean? So when it comes to submissions, which you have a variety of on your record as well, let that be known here. But the flyweights, they're just able to do more within a 15 or 25-minute fight than most other weight classes are able to do.
Yeah.
So shout out to the flyweights, you
The
know what I'm saying?
flyweights.
All right, so is this your division for the entirety of your career, or do you see as time progresses and you get a little bit older, because you are still relatively young in the game, you think a move up in weight class, or is the cut just that easy?
I'm not sure. I started out my amateur career at 135, and my first two fights were at 135. Again, at that level, it's really difficult to know if the weight is a big difference because, it's a lot of people's first time.
Mhm.
And as I get older, I'm going to try my very best to stay at 125. It's a good division that I fit in. I'm in that middle weight where 135ers are too big for me, and I'm barely able to be a good 125er without draining my body. So I think 125 is a good division that I would like to stay in as long as I can. And I will stay in there until I physically realize, hey, I cannot be cutting to 125 anymore. And by then, we can rearrange my training regime, which have been really good. Peak performance with Taga, that's where it's up. And if we can move it and maybe change some of my attributes to be more powerful, to make 135 and be a good 135er if that was ever the case. But for now, 125, it sits really comfortably with me. I really like it.
I like it too, man. I like it too. And let's speak to the exciting nature of the division, right? Because you guys are able to put out more volume. Your scrambles, you're able to, when it goes to the ground, it's a lot more fun because you guys are able to, put out a lot more without worrying about the cardio, right?
Correct.
So with all of your submissions, I think you have 6 or 7 different submissions on your record, right?
Yes, I don't think I've finished the same submission twice so far.
Yeah, and that's what's up. That's what's up. It shows, the versatility of you as a fighter and also, your division as a whole. So you're an exciting fighter. What do you think, or how far off do you think you are from, let's say, an LFA title or just getting a call straight to the UFC?
To be honest with you, most of my fighting career was just been me excited about fighting. And up until very recently have I really weighed in. It's like, okay, well, let me ask myself, what do I want as far as what this fight means to me? Obviously this fight means a lot to me. I train it, I want it, and I want to win. But outside of that, what does it mean to me? What weight does it carry? Just recently have I been thinking about, okay, let's how much does it mean to the world? Of course it means the world to me, but without an LFA shot, without a UFC call, how much does it mean to the world? And as I continue to training, the world is becoming very important to me. And when I say the world, I mean my coaches Juan Tatum, Michael Malone, Tony Lemons, Daniel Lemons, all the people I train with, Destiny Oldenkamp, these amazing people, like just David, my best friend David Luna, right? These people just push me every single day, and those people are part of the world. So I want a reflection. I want a reflection to say, look, Peak Performance Watauga, which is where we're at, we are producing quality, and I want to be a reflection of that. I want the world to know how much that means to me. And the only way to do that, I feel, is to climb the ladder, to get a title shot, to be called to the UFC, to say, hey, this guy, he's disciplined, he's trained, where's he from? And I want them to know the hard work that not just me, but we all put in. That's when it started. That's when I started to weigh in. Where do I want to go with this fight? Do I just want to fight for fun? Yes. Do I just want to fight because I like it? Yeah, all the time. That's never changed. But the more time I spend in this, the more time it's invested by other people who share this love with me. So I want to show that. I want to show that outside of me. I want to externalize that feeling. And like I said before, the way to do it is to reach those levels, the UFC, a title shot.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great way to put it. And, the way that you explain the whole thing is just like articulate and really intelligent, which, fighters get a bad rap, just being, cockfighters or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing to hear that you're so analytical about your thought process, right?
Yeah, I like to make sure that I'm very versatile for myself, and it is a very demanding sport mentally. Mm-hmm. And if you train your body to make sure that you can do these intricacies, why wouldn't you talk to yourself as a person who understands that? So I talk to myself in my head, to a higher level. I hold myself at a high standard when it comes to just about everything. And I like to treat myself that way. And I'm not going to speak to myself like a 4-year-old child. So I want to make sure that I can talk to myself. It's very important for me that I know myself well enough to be able to go ahead and take it outside of my head, take these ideas, take these techniques, take these, desires that I want to be the best. You have to internalize it first. Everything begins with yourself. Everything begins with your first thought, I have an idea, I have a thought, well, how do I make it happen? And if you're just able to constantly do that, then it becomes easier, with practice. And yeah, they do get a bad rep, which I don't think fighters are stupid. I don't think anyone's stupid. I think it just comes to what do you practice? What do you practice? And you become really good at it. There's amazing fighters. Maybe they don't practice, I don't know. I practice calligraphy. I practice reading, a lot of in languages that I want to understand. I practice that just for fun. And this just happens to be a result of it. But that doesn't mean they're dumber. That just means they practice other things. Shit, I don't know. Someone could be like an amazing carpenter. I know every fighter has a side hobby. And in that hobby, they're not beginners. They're beginners sometimes. They're not mediocre. They're not mediocre. Every fighter has a hobby and they're not mediocre at it.
Right on. So I wanted to ask you, because you're a pretty interesting character, right? Not only are you just fucking stampeding uh, everything that LFA is putting in front of you, right? You're crushing everything there. But I see when they promote you, you get down on some cello, right?
Yeah.
Which is dope. I used to play cello way back in the
Oh,
day.
right on.
Yeah, yeah. I had to use the quarter because I was so small.
Oh man, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, but it's still one of my favorite stringed instruments. But how did you get into fighting as what it is now to you?
How did I get into fighting? I said it is now to me. Um, it was one of the things that got me places. It was one of the things that got me places because when my family moved to the United States, as undocumented immigrants that we became, we moved here as documented immigrants. My dad came here and worked for a little bit, saved some money. Some bad shit happened. He got into a work accident. He was hospitalized. He had no family here. So we came here in a humanitarian visa because he didn't have family here. My sister, my mom, and I, we came here. And throughout the entire process of his hospitalization, his rehab, and his therapy that lasted months and years because it was a pretty bad accident, we just stayed here. We just stayed here and made a life. And as you grow up, you realize that you are living with people and sharing the same space and sharing the same time and learning the same things. And as you get older, you realize what you're not able to have. And one of the things that I was able to continue to have is my sports. I've always been able to play sports in high school. I've always been able to do martial arts. It was one of the first things that I picked up. So as I became older and my friends began to drive, I can't drive. I couldn't get a driver's license. I couldn't buy a car. So I couldn't go hang out with my friends. I couldn't do anything, right? So I couldn't even get a job. So what do I spend my time doing? Okay, well, I can still go to the gym. No one documents me for going to the gym. I can keep going to the gym. So I just focus on going to the gym. And as I got older, I turned 18, I go to college. We have all these amazing opportunities for anyone to be able to go to college. And I took them, and it was still very hard. I couldn't continue to afford it. And one of the reasons why I couldn't is because I couldn't get a good job, because I couldn't get a good driver's license, because I wasn't completely documented. But I could still go to the gym. I could still go to the gym and I could still work out and I could still compete. I could still go to tournaments. I could still do all these amazing things. I just couldn't do it all. And
Okay.
so I just happened to be constantly, I guess, metaphorically and in a literal way, fighting to stay ahead, to be somebody, to be relevant to me, most importantly,
Mhm.
to me. And eventually, as I kept doing that, even though on paper I don't exist, I realized that I did for people in the physical world. I realized that people cared that I taught them. People cared how I taught them and helped them understand techniques. People cared to help me in their class as a student. People cared that I performed well. People cared that I was I was successful. And the more time I kept doing that, I kept getting higher and higher, and they say you should compete, you should fight, you should learn striking like this, you should learn jiu-jitsu, you should learn to grapple, and I'll help you. And man, with all this help, Peak Performance will talk from day one. From day one, I've had a home when I've merged myself into the world of MMA. You know, more than just the MMA techniques and aspects, they are family to me, and I wouldn't be here without them, without my coach Juan Tatum and Michael Malone, all the people that I mentioned earlier. And in that way, I guess it's how I ended up where I am right now as a fighter. As an, I don't know if you would say accomplished fighter. My definition of accomplished is way higher than what I have right now. So what I am right now has just been done because it's been the only thing that hasn't been able to be taken away from me, and it just happens to be fighting.
I'm sorry, whatever happened to your dad. Okay, so that
It's good.
sucks.
He's all right.
But it just sounds like it's in your blood, man. You've just been fighting your entire life, and now you're like, actually fighting, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'd say you're accomplished. I'd say 8-1 as a pro ain't nothing to spit at, man. I think that's pretty good. And then, with the only loss being the guy that took the current champ to a controversial split, I mean, I call that accomplished. You know what I mean? And you're already starting to decorate the record books of LFA. You know what I mean? So I'd say there's been a lot accomplished, but I don't think that that's your ceiling.
No,
You know what I mean?
I don't want it to be.
And see, that's important. I think having what you have right now, which is really impressive, and that not being, those are just steps along the way for you. You know what I mean? It's not who you are forever, right?
Correct.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. And again, just the way that you tell your story is very just, I don't want to, it's hard to put into words. Like, it's impactful. There you go. It's very impactful. You know what I mean? So outside of fighting, right? We know that you play some mean strings, right? What are some other things that you like to do outside of fighting?
Outside of fighting, I like to play the cello, and I practice calligraphy. But I started that this year in 2020 because I had a lot of time to be at home, and it's just I realized that my handwriting was shitty, and I spent so much time practicing to be good at really important things like not getting hurt, like not getting your teeth punched in. I spent a lot of time doing that. And then I looked at something I wrote once and I'm like, why can't I write well? Why can't I write well? It's simple. And when people write, I write letters. I like to write letters to my wife. My wife and I write letters to each other. And sometimes I feel like I could be better for her to read them. I like to practice. I like to make sure that I'm good. I like to make sure that I'm good. And you learn how to write when you're 5 or 4. And I'm like, man, I'm about to be 30 years old. And it seems like I've never practiced how to write, but it's probably one of the few verbs that I've done since I was 4. And I can't do it well. That was a shame for me. And so I'm going to learn how to write. And right now, let me see.
Yeah, you got
I got
something.
this. This is a notebook that I write on all the time.
Yeah, see, I could read it perfect.
I practice cursive too, and I don't even care. Sometimes it's upside down. I just feel the pages. I just feel pages upon pages, just to practice. Because, man, that like we mentioned before, you're not gonna be good at anything that you don't practice.
True.
You gotta practice it, and so maybe I'm addicted to that. I'm addicted to be like, all right, what's something I think it's hard, but really I just hate to practice. What if it's not hard? What if you just hate the practice of it? Maybe that. I don't know.
Bad, man. You're smart.
Thank you. And then another thing I like to do, I like aquariums. I love aquariums. I have a 200-gallon aquarium that I'm not able to have in my apartment. But my coach and friend Michael Malone, he's holding it for me, and I just love aquascaping. Not to that degree, people get really good at it, but it's just really cool, and it's one of the few things I can keep alive. So it's pretty cool. I've always liked fish and I like pets, but I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to get a dog and a cat, and then they're like, "Man, sorry you shit in here."
For real, for real. We've got 4 dogs, bearded dragon, some fish, and then just recently our snake passed. So
Your snake passed?
yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, he just he didn't wake up one morning.
He didn't wake up? Damn. That's weird. Snakes, I don't know the lifespan of snakes, but it's hard to see if a snake is sick. I mean, with your dog, you can be like, I wonder if my dog's feeling all right. But a snake, I don't even know. I don't even know how I would make sure they're okay.
I don't know, but back to your aquariums, we do freshwater, and we had like 14 fish, but they got ick.
Really?
Yeah, they got ick. So a bunch of them died, and now we're left with like a handful of them. But I think we're starting to figure things out a little bit. I think what happened was we brought a new one in without quarantining it.
Yeah.
Which with 2020, you should probably just quarantine everything. You know what I mean?
Quarantine the fish.
Yeah, exactly. But I like it. We have a 150-gallon tank.
That's a good thing. That's when you're not just getting it for your kids.
Well, yeah, it was mostly for me and the wife, because we every time we went to the store, you see all the fish, and it's like, man, I want a big tank. Plus the sound of like the pumps and all that, and then the ambience of the light, like it's just very calming. To where if you're not doing, like, let's just say you're sitting there reading in the living room, you're gonna be hearing that, and it's gonna be tranquil. So
you can look up. Maybe you're tired of reading. You look up, and I don't really like having the TV on. I want something loud. I want something to be present with me. So yeah, I understand that for sure. I'll just sit there in front of my aquarium doing writing. But I don't have it here anymore, so I'm kind of bummed about it. I love it.
In due time.
What kind of fish do you got?
What kind of fish do I got? Let's see. I have a albino catfish. I have a black molly. Of course, I have a pleco.
Everyone's got a pleco.
Yeah, you got to have that. And then let's see, what else do we have? I have 2 goldfish, one real big one and one like little round one. I have I forget what kind of shark I have, but it's like blue.
Blue.
So
interesting.
Yeah, it's like it might be like a rainbow shark or some shit. I don't know. I just wanted a shark. So and then what else do we have? I have like some type of sun thing. I don't know. Like I'm not really good with the names. You know what I mean? But I think there's probably like 7 fish in there plus a snail, but the snail don't do nothing.
Yeah. They just
the snail
decoration.
You're right. But the one I like the most is my albino catfish.
Yeah. Everyone's got a favorite.
He's only like that big. But man, he covers some distance in that thing. He covers some distance. And we name all of our pets after fighters, right? So all of them except for the 2 oldest, including the dogs and the dragons and the snake, they're all named after fighters. Really? And so, yeah. So this little fish, right? This little fucking albino catfish, we named him Marab after Marab Dvalishvili, bantamweight in the UFC, because the dude's all over the place. And I'm like, man, he reminds me of that Marab cat.
There it goes. It's right there. Catfish.
Yeah, he just bounces all over the place like 24/7. So it was a perfect fit.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. I love catfish. Get big too. They can.
I think he's only gonna get probably about like that big, because right now he's about that big. He's not gonna get much bigger.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool.
You don't get rid of it.
Yeah, right. Well, we had one of those, what do you call it? A bala,
Yeah.
but those things, they get, like that big. So when he died, we decided not to replace him because he was just going to get too big for all the other fish in there. And that's a big shark for all those little fish.
Yeah. The bala ones, they get pretty big. I've never owned one that got that big.
Me either. And what a lot of people do is they'll trade them in. They'll
Hmm.
trade their big ones in for more little ones. 'Cause the little ones, they're cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once they get to the then it's just like, this looks like an
You're
oatmeal.
not happy. You want a bigger tank. You gotta grow.
Well,
All right.
uh, we've reached the point, right, where we got to give you as much time as you'd like to thank your training partners, coaches, friends, family, whoever you want, sponsors. You know,
Yeah.
the floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead.
Oh, man, I like to thank my team. First and foremost, my team and my wife. My wife's part of my team, Emily Rose. She's wonderful. She goes through my hangry stages when I'm cutting weight and just makes sure that, you know, she knows that she loves me. And no, I know that she loves me. She has to make sure that I know that she loves me. And that's very important to me, especially when it's shitty when it comes to the weight cut and the training, mentally exhausting. And then, of course, my team Peak Performance Wataga, my coach Juan Tatum, Michael Malone, Tony Lemons, Daniel Lemons, my training partners David, Luna, Skylar, Destiny Oldecamp, Brad Oldenkamp. They're always right there. They're always ready for me. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Another coach, Brandon. These are just amazing people to have in my corner, and I'm very grateful, thankful, and proud to be able to call them my training partners, my friends, my coaches. And every day I show up to training, I just make sure that I hope that I reach their expectations, that I'm able to give back and show them that my hard work is a reflection of how much I care about them, because it's their hard work too. It's their hard work too, you know. So I like to thank them. Filters, my sponsor, one of my sponsors. I actually don't have a lot of sponsors right now. So Mark, oh my goodness, my friend Mark St. John, meal prepping genius. He has definitely make sure and help my wife a lot with my hangry stages because I get to eat well. Mark St. John, thank you very much. And my wife thanks you as well. It is that. It's great. Like I said, this it's a difficult thing to do. And if you have a good team that I'm lucky to have, it goes a lot smoother. Not easier, just smoother. And that's it. My um yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of sponsors. So if you want to hit me up, my friend Jorge, what's up? He owns a restaurant. So, he's hooked me up too sometimes. So shout out to Jorge. And yeah, I would love to get some more sponsors, man. That'd be pretty cool. I would like to do that. I can teach more people. I love teaching. So yeah, I like to thank everybody there. Of course, my family. My mom doesn't like the fighting, but she's like, okay, yeah, I'm glad you're fine.
100%, 100%. Well, again, thank you for the time. Shout out to my sponsor, HK
Hey, what's up?
USA. Um, so before I let you go, what are the plans for 2021?
2021. What are the plans? Well, the plans for 2021 are to stay ready. We're staying ready. We're at the point where my manager told me, my David, I'll shout out to my manager, David Adlon, um, with first round management. First round management, yes, sir. So then he told me that right now we're at 50-50%. We can either get another LFA fight or we can get a UFC call. And if there's a UFC call, it's more likely going to be short notice. So the goal of 2021 is had started 2 weeks ago, which is stay on weight, stay training, stay ready, take advantage that this last fight did not cause injuries and damage so that we can jump back in there and be ready for a short notice call, which if it happens, it will be around this time. It will be around the near future. If it happens, it's going to be in the near future. So we want to make sure that we're ready. we want to make sure we treat the future like the present so that we can be ahead of everyone.
Absolutely. Well, either a short notice call or a title fight is what I'm hoping for you, my friend. I think it's more than earned and deserved. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So I think you're right there. I think the people at LFA, I think they know how to progress a career in the right way. So, hopefully that's what's next, man. Hopefully that's what's next. And I can't wait to have you on again, my friend. This has been a lot of fun. I don't usually get to talk fish or cello,
Yeah.
so that was
you
dope.
got me right here.
Right on. Well, as soon as you get something lined up, shoot me a call. We'll preview your opponent, whatever you want to do. We'll do it again, all right?
Will do. Yes, sir.
All right, my friend. Well, you have a great day, and I look forward to the next one.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Hey, you too. Happy holidays. All
Yes,
of them. All right. Take it easy, man.
You too.